It's March 2020, and I distinctly remember sitting at home in the living room of my parents' house on a Zoom call with one of my math students explaining how to differentiate using the product rule. It was riveting. The Big C had just confined everybody to their homes, and I resorted to switching my in-person Monday night tuition classes to Zoom classes. After I finally found UIDX on the shared tablet screen, a thought came over me. There must be a more efficient way of doing this. I said goodbye after assigning my students their homework, and on an impulse started recording myself giving the exact same lesson. Except for this time, it could be distributed without the need for me being there. Then a thought came over me. What if I could recruit other teachers to do this with other subjects? No, not just other teachers, but the best teachers in the country, and brand it as a premium resource for on-demand learning. The Big C was here to stay. Schools were not coming back anytime soon, and it would be the perfect time to make a bit of extra cash so I could focus on my other business. 6 months later, I sit at my desk, now located in my own rented property with my girlfriend, with a contract in front of me titled Share Sale and Purchase Agreement, i.e. acquisition. I sat there asking myself, how did I get here working on something that didn't take more than 10 hours a week on a project that initially was meant to give me some extra income to sustain my day-to-day living and dream of building my other startup into a unicorn. It was the right time to sell. I knew that at the time and still know it now. But as I looked at the DocuSign application open in front of me, I was trying to capture and fully comprehend what aspects of this business made it so attractive for buyers after only 6 months of launching. So I could try and do this all over again, hopefully on a bigger scale, the next time I sign on that dotted line. For the last time as official owner, I pressed Command T on my keyboard to open a new tab, and I typed in the website URL. I skimmed through the website that I put my heart and soul into and saw thousands of students learning. I saw the opening headlines that I had written, and I realised that this idea was conceptualised in the middle of the deadliest pandemic of our generation, and the online infrastructure built at the time to facilitate online learning was severely lacking. It was solving a dire problem at a time when every parent on the planet was Googling online tuition. I looked down at my phone to see my dad was after WhatsApping me. It read, "The opportunity of a lifetime must be taken in the lifetime of the opportunity. Blink and you'll miss it. The idea was the opportunity taken in the lifetime of a winter bee." As I scrolled onto the Course Explorer section of the website, I came to a realization that timing was only one of the ingredients that led to its chocolatey smooth taste. I looked at the sheer amount of content on the site and realized that I had only contributed a fraction to it. Everything else was developed by other people, subject experts in their own right who believed in the idea enough to spend weeks developing an on-demand guide to acing the exam. How long would it have taken me to develop this content if I were to do it on my own? Months? Years? At this stage the concept would be completely outdated. Because I had entrusted others to do what they were good at, I was able to concentrate on what I was good at. And it led to one thing: speed. Because there were now 15 people working on this at one time, we were faster acting than everyone else and were able to do it without breaking our backs. Well, not too much anyway. I reached the CR pricing button. Sure, why not? I clicked on the button and it brought me to the pricing page. Then it hit me. Whether we had one student using the platform or 1,000 students using the platform, it didn't make a difference to my workload. Once the software did its job, the business operated flawlessly. This addresses 2 points. Number one, because I was not the product, I was able to let users absorb all of the value from our service without me using up my precious time. And number two, because everything was automated, the product was literally making money as I slept in my bed located 3 feet away from my desk. I pressed Command 3 and navigated back to the DocuSign tab. This business was in its infancy and had the potential to grow to an even bigger scale, but I knew I was not the one to take it to that next level. I did my job, learned my lessons, and I'm ready to do it all over again. I signed the document, Darragh Lucey. Okay, hello everyone. I hope you enjoyed the overly dramatic attempt of making something cinematic. It's been around 6 months now since we signed on the dotted line, and luckily there's been a bit of time for for us to settle down and really have a look at what were the characteristics of the business that kind of made it successful in such a short period of time. So there are four main points and characteristics. Now I've already kind of alluded to it. I'd like to kind of go a little bit deeper into it now. So whether it be, fleshing out a new business idea or a new business or a concept, these are always the things that I ask myself now to make sure that I am on the right path when I'm going to start a business. And it also might help you if you're looking to start a business of some form, or if you're toying around a number of different ideas. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Darragh, and on this channel we look at ways young people can live happier, richer, and more productive lives. And in another life outside of my YouTube channel, I have developed a series of successful educational technology businesses, and I'm hoping to continue to do so over the coming years. I suppose it's important to note that the businesses that I've started and the business that I referred to earlier on in the video is a SaaS-based business, software as a service. And the idea behind the SaaS business is that it's fully online based, and it's software that you're selling for a service which generally kind of goes with the monthly subscription or something along those lines, whether it be to a business or to the consumer, B2C. What I'm talking about now is very different to opening like a bakery or a cafe, a completely different set of rules apply. I'm only focused on a small little niche, and that's kind of where I have that limited amount of experience. So if you're looking to start a cafe, you should probably look somewhere else. For me and the types of businesses that I would like to run, currently I've uncovered the 4 key elements that I always now consider when I'm looking at a business idea or starting another business. So the first box is, am I solving a dire problem at a dire time? The reason this is important is because if you're not, odds are it's going to be very difficult to get people to use the product, never mind pay for the product. So my brands are primarily B2C, so direct to the consumer. And for you to convert people, you really need to ensure that you are solving a dire problem for them at a dire time. For me, it was online learning at a time where students couldn't go to school. So that's a dire problem at a dire time. So if you can tick that box, regardless of what you're doing, that is definitely the first step. The second step that I have learned is, can you outsource as much of the work as possible, get a prototype developed, and get people using it yesterday, okay? So the idea behind this is that the longer you wait to release your product, the longer it will take for you to learn what people truly want. If you can conjure something up and get it out in a week or a month, like that is a pro, because then you can learn and iterate straight away. If it's something like, a really sophisticated app that might take 2 or 3 years to develop to a point at which it's consumer ready, then you really want to make sure that number 1, it's going to be worth it, because a lot of money is going into that development, and number 2, that it will really work. Okay, that people will actually use it. So do take that in consideration. So if the answer is yes, and I can get people to work on it and get it out there ASAP, then that's another tick. The third thing is, does my own personal brand need to be present to facilitate whatever major transaction that we are offering the customer? So for instance, if I was doing consultancy services to someone, I have to be there to consult with the client, because I am effectively the product. Now, if we were developing a software product that automatically matched people to different consultants, I don't need to be there, because the technology does the operation in the background. Now, if you're developing a business around your personal brand and it's a passion project, then absolutely, you have to be there to do that. But if you want to develop a product that's extremely scalable and can operate without you being there all the time, because trust me, there are so many moving parts in the business that you don't want to be the person that has to be there when every decision is made, or when a problem goes wrong every time, because you get burnt out so quickly and you won't be able to scale fast. So if the answer is yes, and I don't have to be there physically to facilitate a transaction, that's the third tick. Fourth one is, will this make money in my sleep? And that effectively means, can this be automated through a very efficient system, funnel, or using AI or machine learning? So to repeat again, these 4 questions are, am I solving a dire problem at a dire time? Can I outsource the bulk of the work to get people using it as soon as possible? Does my own personal brand need to be affiliated with the major transaction every time a transaction occurs? And the last thing is, will this make money when I sleep? Now, these things are extremely important when you want to sell a business, because, for example, somebody wants to buy a business because of what it is offering other people, and then they want to use that themselves to either make more money or to integrate with their own brand. If you are the product, and if you are the one facilitating the transaction, they're effectively buying you, and people are unreliable. So people don't want to buy people. They want to buy products that automate themselves and are extremely reliable. And if the company does want to buy you, then, there's something a little bit eerie about that. It's like selling your soul to someone else. So the idea behind selling a product is much more attractive to a buyer than selling, yourself. weird way. So every time I have a business idea, I run through these 4 boxes, and that's my starting point for whether I want to continue to delve into this business or not. I've actually recently just come up with another idea that I'm looking to pursue, and these 4 boxes have been ticked, so I know that I want to move a little bit forward with the development of this product. Again, this is related to the businesses that I want to develop. It doesn't have to be the same for you. Again, if you're looking to do a cafe, thanks for staying again, but maybe there are some other aspects that you need to consider with that. If you did find this video helpful and you do want to delve a little bit further into entrepreneurship and some ways you can address various ideas, do feel free to click on this video up here. It's a video where I talk about my first 4 lessons, the 4 lessons that I've learned in my first 1,000 days of entrepreneurship. Before you do though, if you liked and appreciated this kind of content and you enjoyed the overly dramatic cinematic version of the acquisition at the start of the video, do feel free to drop a like down below, hit the subscribe button, and we'll be sure to make plenty of content along these kind of lines in the future. Until the next one, we'll see you later. Slán.